I was sent to observe humans in battle. What I witnessed was a catastrophe. Part 2. Initial Contact. The first real clash started without warning. Zarathian beams cut through space like sharp knives. They hit the outer human sensor drones first. Bright explosions lit up the dark. Then the beams reached the frigates. Eagle 1 shook hard as 3 beams struck its forward shield at once. The shield glowed red and cracked in places, but it did not break. Eagle 2 turned fast and fired its own guns. Small flashes appeared on a Zarathian destroyer's hull. Minor damage, nothing serious. Kael'vor watched every detail on his screens. His instruments counted the shots. Zarathians fired in perfect groups. Every beam came at the same time. Humans fired back in short bursts. Some shots missed. Some hit. No pattern. Captain John Hayes spoke over the fleet channel. His voice stayed calm. All wings, engage at will. Do not wait for orders. Hit them hard and keep moving. The human fighters launched forward. They flew in small groups of 4 or 5. No tight formation. They twisted and rolled through the enemy fire. Zarathian point defense guns tried to track them. Most missed. The humans were too fast and too wild. Lieutenant Kevin Brooks led one fighter squadron. His call sign was Hawk 1. He flew straight at the lead Zarathian cruiser. His voice crackled over comms. Hawks, on me. We're going for the shield generators on the port side. Close range, no hesitation. The squadron followed. They dodged beams and flew between the enemy destroyers. One fighter took a hit. Its wing broke off. The pilot kept flying with what was left. He aimed at a destroyer and fired all his missiles. The destroyer's shield dropped. Then he rammed the side of it. A huge explosion followed. The destroyer split in two. Fire spread inside. Kael'vor's log updated itself. Human pilot sacrifice confirmed. Intentional collision. Result: 1 Zarathian destroyer destroyed. Time elapsed 4 minutes. The Zarathians did not expect that. Their formation pulled back a little. The cruisers turned to face the new threat. More beams fired. Another human fighter exploded. Pieces flew in every direction. Still the others kept coming. Captain Hayes ordered Liberty's Dawn forward. The big cruiser moved slow at first. Then its engines roared. It charged straight at the enemy line. The 2 frigates followed close behind. They absorbed hits meant for the bigger ship. Eagle 1's shield failed on one side. A beam cut deep into the hull. Air vented out. Fires started inside. Lisa Morgan, captain of Eagle 1, did not pull back. She spoke to her crew. Keep firing. Engines at full. We stay in this fight. Her ship kept shooting. Its guns hit a Zarathian medium cruiser. The enemy ship listed to one side. Smoke poured from its engines. Kael'vor felt his tentacles tighten. This was not normal. Most species would retreat now. They would regroup or surrender. Humans did neither. On open channels, Admiral Zorak Thule spoke again. His voice had a small edge this time. Human commander, your losses are heavy. Your ships burn. End this now. Surrender and live. John Hayes answered right away. Admiral, you talk too much. If you want our ships, take them. We're still here. The channel cut off. The humans pushed harder. Fighter wings grouped up again. This time they targeted the engines of the lead Zarathian cruiser. Missiles flew in waves. Some got through. Explosions bloomed along the cruiser's rear. Its speed dropped. The ship started to turn away. Zarathian fighters finally launched. They were sleek and fast. Their pilots flew in tight groups. They tried to surround the human fighters. It did not work. Human pilots fought like they had nothing to lose. One fighter flew upside down between 2 Zarathian fighters. It fired backward and destroyed one. Then it turned and chased the other. The chase ended when the human pilot rammed the enemy from behind. Both ships exploded. Vor counted again. Zarathian losses: 3 destroyers, damage to 1 heavy cruiser. Human losses: 7 fighters, heavy damage to Eagle 1, medium damage to Eagle 2. The odds still favored the Zarathians, but the battle had changed. The Zarathians were no longer advancing in perfect order. Their ships moved to protect each other. Gaps appeared in their lines. Vor zoomed in on Liberty's Dawn. The ship had taken many hits. Its hull was black in places from energy burns. 1 turret was gone, but it kept firing. Its main railgun sent heavy slugs into the enemy flagship. Each hit shook the big Zarathian ship. John Hayes gave another order. Boarding teams, stand by. We close the gap. If we get near, we board. Take their bridge if we can. Vor paused. Boarding? Against a superior force? It made no sense. Zarathians had stronger close combat troops. Humans would die fast inside enemy ships. Yet the human cruiser kept moving forward. It took more hits. A beam cut through its side. Secondary explosions rocked the ship. Still it came. The Zarathians fired everything they had. Liberty's Dawn's shield collapsed completely. The hull took direct fire. Armor plates peeled away. But the ship did not stop. Vor wrote in his log, "Human flagship critically damaged, yet continues aggressive advance. Crew morale appears stable. No signs of panic." He did not understand it. Then, something new happened. A small group of human fighters broke through the enemy screen. They flew low along the surface of the Zarathian flagship. They dropped magnetic mines. The mines stuck to the hull. Seconds later they exploded. A large section of armor blew off. Atmosphere vented. The flagship listed hard. Admiral Zorak Thul's voice came over the channel again. This time it sounded different. Not calm. "Regroup. Protect the flagship. Destroy those fighters." The Zarathian formation broke. Ships moved out of position to cover their leader. Gaps grew bigger. Humans saw it. Kevin Brooks shouted over comms. "Now, hit the gaps. All wings, attack." Human fighters poured through the holes. They attacked from every side. Missiles and guns tore into exposed sections. 1 Zarathian cruiser lost power. It drifted dead in space. Vor's screens flashed with alerts. Damage reports. The battle was only 12 minutes old. Zarathian losses: 5 destroyers destroyed. 2 cruisers heavily damaged. Flagship leaking air. Human losses: 12 fighters gone. Both frigates burning. Liberty's Dawn barely holding together. The fight should have ended already. It had not. Vor leaned closer. His logical mind tried to calculate the end. The numbers still said Zarathians would win. But the pattern had broken. Humans did not fight like other species. They did not stop when hurt. They did not run when scared. They attacked harder. A new transmission came from Liberty's Dawn. John Hayes spoke to his crew. "We hurt them. They feel it now. Keep pushing. For New Haven. For each other." The crew answered with a loud cheer. Even through the damage, even through the fire, they cheered. Vor felt something he had never felt before in all his years of watching wars. Unease. The battle in space was just the start. The real test would come on the ground. But already, what he saw was not a simple defeat. It was something else. Something dangerous. I was sent to observe humans in battle. What I witnessed was a catastrophe. Part 3. Escalation on the ground. The battle in space slowed for a moment. Both sides pulled back to repair and regroup. Zarathian ships formed a tight defensive circle around their damaged flagship. Human ships drifted, leaking air and sparks. Liberty's Dawn still burned in places, but its engines stayed alive. The 2 frigates hung close by, damaged, but firing when they could. Vor shifted his sensors downward. The real fight now moved to the planet New Haven. The surface looked calm from orbit, green forests, blue oceans, white clouds, but under that calm, war waited. Zarathian landing craft dropped like rain. Dozens of them. Each carried 200 soldiers in heavy armor. They aimed for the main cities and the mining zones. Their plan was simple. Land fast, take key points, force surrender. Human Marines waited in prepared positions. Colonel Amanda Grant stood in the command bunker outside Capital City. She watched screens that showed enemy dropships coming down. Her voice came over the troop channels. Listen up. They think they can walk in and take what they want. We show them different. Hold your fire until they are close. Make every shot count. We fight smart, we fight hard. No retreat. The first wave hit the ground near the eastern ridge. Zarathian troops marched out in perfect lines. Their armor shone silver. Energy rifles glowed blue. They advanced toward the human trenches. Amanda Torres, a sniper in the 3rd Battalion, lay flat on a hill 2 kilometers away. She watched through her scope. She picked her first target, a Zarathian officer with red stripes on his helmet. She squeezed the trigger. The rifle cracked. The officer dropped. His troops paused for 1 second. That second was enough. Hidden machine guns opened fire from the trees. Bullets ripped into the Zarathian ranks. Shields flared as rounds hit. Some held, some failed. Zarathians fell. Their lines broke for the first time. Daniel Rivera commanded an artillery battery 2 hills back. He spoke into his radio. Fire mission. Grid 4719. High explosive. Full barrage. Now. Shells screamed into the sky. They landed among the Zarathians. Dirt and fire exploded upward. Armor cracked. Soldiers flew through the air. The advance stopped. Kale Vor zoomed his cameras. He saw humans move fast. They did not stay in one place. Small teams slipped through the forest. They set traps, mines, tripwires, sharp metal spikes buried in the dirt. When Zarathian stepped, another, Laura Bennett, used a captured energy rifle to burn through enemy shields. The Zarathians pushed harder. They sent their elite shock troops, tall warriors with thick armor and plasma blades. These troops cut through the first line of defenses. They reached the edge of Capital City. Colonel Grant ordered a counterattack. 2nd and 4th companies, flank left. 5th company, hold center. Use the buildings, draw them in. Humans fell back on purpose. They let the enemy enter narrow streets. Then they struck from above and behind. Snipers on rooftops, grenades from alleys, Molotov cocktails made from fuel cans. Zarathians found themselves trapped. Their big armor slowed them in tight spaces. Humans moved quick and light. Amanda Torres changed position 3 times. Each time she killed more officers. Her hands stayed steady. Her breathing stayed even. She spoke quietly to herself after each shot. One more. The Zarathians called for air support. Fighters came down from orbit. They strafed the city with energy bursts. Buildings collapsed. Fires started. Human anti-air teams waited. They used portable launchers. Missiles rose and found their marks. 2 Zarathian fighters exploded in mid-air. The rest pulled up fast. Kale Vor noted the change in his log. Human ground forces adapt rapidly. Use of terrain, effective. Improvised weapons, increasing. Morale, steady despite heavy losses. Wounded humans refused to leave the line. One Marine, leg broken, dragged himself to a machine gun and kept firing until his ammo ran dry. Medics pulled him back only after he passed out. Daniel Rivera's artillery kept pounding. When Zarathians tried to flank his position, he ordered his guns to fire close. Danger close. Shells landed 50 meters from his own troops, but the enemy died in bigger numbers. Colonel Grant walked the front lines. She carried a rifle and helped carry wounded. She shouted orders and encouragement at the same time. We got them bleeding. Keep the pressure on. They break before we do. Zarathian commanders saw the problem. Their troops were trained for open field battles, not street fighting. not against enemies who refused to die easy. Orders changed. They pulled back to regroup outside the city. Humans did not let them rest. Small strike teams followed. They hit supply lines. They destroyed fuel trucks. They cut communication cables. Zorathians found their radios full of static. Their maps showed wrong positions. One human team, led by Sergeant Kevin Patel, sneaked behind enemy lines at night. They planted charges on a landing craft. When it tried to lift off, it exploded. Pieces rained down on the Zorathian camp. Its screens showed fires across the planet. Smoke rose high enough to see from orbit. Human cities burned, but the people inside kept fighting. Zorathian casualties climbed fast. Their soldiers started to hesitate. Some squads refused orders to advance. Officers shot them for cowardice, but fear spread anyway. On the human side, losses were high too. Trenches filled with dead. Medbays overflowed. Yet new volunteers came forward. Farmers, miners, even teenagers who grabbed rifles from fallen soldiers. Amanda Grant spoke to her command staff in the bunker. They thought this would be over in hours. It's been days. We hold. We make them pay. Every hour we stand, we win. Cale Vor updated his report. Ground phase duration, 48 hours. Zorathian advance, stalled at 30% of objective. Human casualties, estimated 40%. Zorathian casualties, estimated 25%, and rising. Human adaptation speed exceeds all prior observations. He stared at the screens. The planet looked like a wound. Smoke covered half the continent. Yet the humans did not break. In space, Liberty's Dawn still fought. It drew fire away from the surface. Every minute it stayed alive, gave the ground troops more time. Cale Vor felt the unease grow stronger. This was no longer a simple observation. The Zorathians came to conquer. The humans came to survive. And survival, for them, meant total war. The battle on the ground had only just begun to show its true face. I was sent to observe humans in battle. What I witnessed was a catastrophe. Part 4. The Turning Point. The ground war raged for 5 full days. Smoke covered New Haven like a thick blanket. Cities stood half in ruins. Zorathian forces held only small pockets near the mines. Their advance had stopped cold. Human defenders bled from every wound, but refused to break. Colonel Amanda Grant moved from bunker to bunker. Her uniform was torn and dirty. She still gave orders with a clear voice. In orbit, the fight reached its breaking point. Liberty's Dawn looked like a wreck. Half its guns were silent. Holes gaped in the hull. Air leaked in slow streams. Yet Captain John Hayes kept the ship moving. He refused to pull back. The 2 frigates, Eagle 1 and Eagle 2, stayed close. Both burned, both still fired. Cale Vor watched from his cloaked ship. His sensors showed the truth. Zorathian shields held strong. Their numbers still ruled. Human ships could not last much longer. One more heavy volley would end them. John Hayes stared at his damaged bridge. Red lights flashed everywhere. Crew members worked fast to patch leaks and reroute power. He spoke to his officers. We have one chance left. We form a wedge. We charge their flagship. We get close enough to board. If we take their bridge, the fleet falls apart. His first officer looked shocked. Captain, we lose half the fleet just getting there. The rest die inside. Hayes nodded once. Then we die fighting. Better than drifting and waiting. Send the order. The message went out to all ships. Liberty's Dawn leads. Eagles follow tight. Fighters cover our flanks. We punch through or we burn. For New Haven. A cheer rose on every channel. Even the wounded joined in. The human ships turned. They pointed straight at the Zorathian flagship. Engines flared bright. They accelerated hard. Zorathian sensors picked it up fast. Admiral Zorak Thul gave the command. Focus all fire on the lead cruiser. Destroy it before it closes. Beams lashed out. Liberty's Dawn took the worst. A direct hit tore open its port side. Secondary explosions rocked the ship. Sections went dark. Yet it kept coming. Eagle 1 moved to shield the bigger ship. Beams cut through its hull. The frigate split in two. Fire bloomed silent in vacuum. Lisa Morgan's voice came over comms one last time. Keep going. Finish it. Her ship died. Eagle 2 followed. Kevin Brooks pushed his damaged frigate forward. It absorbed hit after hit. Its engines failed. It drifted into the path of enemy fire. The frigate exploded in a bright flash. The blast wave shook nearby Zorathian destroyers. Now only Liberty's Dawn remained. It flew alone into the storm of beams. Armor peeled away. Guns fell silent one by one. Crew strapped in tight. John Hayes gripped his chair. Boarding teams ready. We ram if we have to. The ship closed the gap. 5 kilometers. 4. 3. Zorathian point defenses opened up. Small guns chewed the hull. Fighters swarmed like angry insects. Human fighters met them. Dogfights filled the space around the 2 flagships. Explosions flashed everywhere. Liberty's Dawn reached 2 kilometers. Its remaining guns fired one last time. Slugs punched holes in the enemy shields. A gap appeared. Hayes gave the final order. Board now. Magnetic grapples shot out. They locked onto the Zorathian hull. Boarding tubes extended. Human teams in heavy suits ran through. Sergeant Laura Mitchell led the first group. She carried a rifle and a plasma cutter. They cut through the outer hull. Air rushed out. Zorathian troops waited inside. Fighting started at once. The corridors were narrow. Zorathians had the advantage in open spaces. But humans fought dirty. They used corners. They threw grenades around bends. They shot from cover. When ammo ran low, they used knives and fists. Laura Mitchell kicked in a door. 3 Zorathians charged. She shot the first. The second slashed with a blade. It cut her arm deep. She did not stop. She drove her rifle butt into its helmet. The third fired. The shot missed. She tackled it. They rolled on the floor. She found its neck seal and ripped it open. Air hissed out. It stopped moving. Her team pushed deeper. They reached the main corridor to the bridge. More Zorathians blocked the way. Heavy armor, energy shields, plasma rifles. Humans did not slow. One Marine, Private Daniel Carter, ran forward with a satchel charge. He threw it. The explosion collapsed the ceiling. Zorathians screamed as debris crushed them. The path opened. Laura Mitchell led the charge. They fought room by room. Blood covered the walls, human and Zorathian. Wounded humans kept moving. One soldier lost an arm. He tied it off and fired with the other. Kael'vor's scans showed chaos inside the flagship. Zorathians trained for clean combat. Humans brought madness. They used wrecked panels as shields. They turned enemy weapons against them. They never stopped. The bridge doors stood ahead. Reinforced, locked. Sergeant Mitchell placed charges. The blast blew the doors inward. Smoke filled the air. Inside, Admiral Zorak Thule stood with his guards. He held a command blade. His voice boomed. "You will not take this ship." Humans answered with gunfire. The fight turned brutal. Zorathians died one by one. Zorak Thule fought hard. He cut down 2 humans. Laura Mitchell faced him. She had a pistol in one hand, a knife in the other. He swung. She ducked. She shot his knee. He dropped. She stepped close and drove the knife into his neck joint. The Admiral fell. Humans took control. Laura Mitchell spoke into her comm. Bridge secured. Sabotage core now. Engineers moved fast. They planted charges on the reactor controls. They set timers. 10 minutes. Evacuate. Surviving humans ran back to the tubes. Some carried wounded. Zorathian reinforcements arrived too late. The charges blew. The flagship's core ruptured. A chain reaction started. The ship shook. Lights failed. Bulkheads buckled. From outside, HFY saw the explosion begin. Fire spread through the hull. The flagship broke apart in slow motion. Secondary blasts tore it into pieces. The Zorathian fleet saw their leader die. Panic spread. Ships broke formation. Some tried to flee. Others fired wild. Command broke. Human fighters pressed the attack. They hit exposed engines. They destroyed fleeing destroyers. Liberty's Dawn drifted now, dead in space. But its sacrifice had turned the battle. HFY wrote in his log with steady hands. Human boarding action successful. Zorathian flagship destroyed from within. Enemy fleet cohesion lost. Human flagship total loss. Survivors unknown. Impact decisive. The Zorathians retreated. What remained of their armada pulled away from New Haven. They left wrecks and silence behind. The turning point had come. Not from better ships. Not from better weapons. From humans who refused to lose. HFY stared at the burning debris field. His unease turned to something deeper. Respect and fear. I was sent to observe humans in battle. What I witnessed was a catastrophe. Part 5. The Aftermath and Revelation. The Zorathian fleet ran. What remained of their once perfect armada scattered into open space. Destroyers limped away with broken engines. Cruisers trailed fire and debris. No orderly retreat. No final volley. Just panic. Ships that could still jump fled first. The rest drifted, dead or dying, among the wrecks of their own kind. New Haven hung below like a scarred survivor. Smoke still rose from the cities. Craters marked the battlefields. Fires burned in the forests. But the planet still belonged to the humans. HFY kept his ship cloaked. He stayed in high orbit. His sensors swept the surface and the debris field. He recorded everything. The silence after the storm felt heavy. On the ground, Colonel Amanda Grant walked through the ruins of Capital City. Blood stained her uniform. She stopped at a makeshift aid station. Medics worked fast on the wounded. A young soldier with burns on his face looked up at her. "We did it, Colonel." Amanda nodded once. "We did." The soldier smiled through the pain. "Good." She moved on. She checked every position. She spoke to survivors. She counted the dead. Numbers did not matter now. The fact that they still stood did. In the command bunker, she sent a short message to the remaining fleet elements. "This is Colonel Grant. Surface secure. Enemy ground forces destroyed or captured. Request status from Liberty's Dawn." No answer came at first. Then a weak signal broke through static. "This is Ensign Daniel Hayes. Liberty's Dawn is gone. Captain John Hayes did not make it off the boarding tubes. Most of the crew, gone. We have 30 survivors in escape pods. Heading to surface now." Then, she opened them. "Understood. We will meet you. Hold tight." She turned to her staff. "Prepare landing zones. Get medical teams ready. Bring our people home." HFY watched the escape pods fall like slow stars. They landed in the fields outside the city. Humans ran to them. They pulled survivors out. They carried the wounded. They buried the dead with quiet respect. In space, the debris field told the full story. Zorathian hulks floated silent. Human ships, Eagle 1, Eagle 2, Liberty's Dawn, were gone. Only fragments remained. Fighters that ran out of fuel drifted among the wreckage. Some still had lights on. Most did not. HFY replayed the final moments again and again. The boarding action. The brutal fight inside the flagship. Sergeant Laura Mitchell driving her knife into the Admiral's neck. The reactor exploding. The chain reaction. The fleet breaking. He calculated the losses. Zorathians, over 80% of their force destroyed or disabled. Flagship lost. Admiral dead. Command structure shattered. Humans, 90% of their orbital force gone. Ground casualties near 60%. Cities in ruins. Mines damaged. Population cut by a third. Yet the humans won. Not by numbers, not by technology, by something else. HFY opened his final report. He spoke the words slowly into the recorder. To the High Archive Council, observation complete. The conflict at New Haven ended in human victory. Initial assessment, impossible. Final assessment, reality. Humans did not fight with superior weapons. Their ships were older, their shields weaker, their numbers small. They did not follow standard doctrine. They ignored formation. They ignored pain. When surrounded, they attacked. When wounded, they fought harder. When death came close, they welcomed it if it meant taking the enemy with them. This is not bravery alone. This is something primal. A force that turns order into chaos. A will that breaks stronger wills. The Zorathians came as conquerors. They left as broken survivors. They will not return soon. The humans rebuilt nothing yet. They mourned their dead. They helped their wounded. They look to the stars again. They know others will come. They do not fear it. They prepare. I recommend immediate review of human classification. They are not a young species to observe from afar. They are a danger to any who underestimate them. What I witnessed was no battle. It was a catastrophe. Not for the humans. For those who thought them weak. Report. HFY out. He sent the data burst. Encrypted. Full records attached. Every second of footage. Every transmission. Every death. The coalition would read it. They would debate it. Some would call it exaggeration. Others would see the truth. HFY powered down his main sensors. He left only passive scans active. He sat in silence. For the first time in his long service, he questioned the rules. No interference. No contact. But what if contact came anyway? What if the humans looked outward? What if they found the coalition? He looked down at the planet again. Small lights appeared in the dark cities. Generators coming back online. People moving. Rebuilding. A single human ship, small, damaged, one of the few that survived, lifted from the surface. It headed toward the stars. Not to flee. To watch. To guard. HFY felt the unease settle deep inside him. He knew one thing now. The galaxy had changed. Not because of new weapons, not because of new empires, because of humans. They did not conquer with fleets. They conquered with refusal. Refusal to die easy. Refusal to break. Refusal to bow. He turned his ship away. He set course for coalition space. He carried no triumph. He carried warning. The stars looked different now, colder. And somewhere below, on a scarred world, humans looked up. They smiled. They had won. I was sent to observe humans in battle. What I witnessed was a catastrophe. Part 1. The assignment. HFY sat in the quiet observation pod of his long-range scout ship. The ship floated in deep space, far from any star, hidden by perfect cloaking fields. He was alone, as all coalition observers were. His job was simple: watch, record, and report. No contact, no help, no interference. The coalition of tranquil worlds had many rules. One of the most important was to never get involved in the wars of younger species. They believed that every race must learn on its own. HFY agreed with this rule. He had watched dozens of conflicts over the years. Most ended quickly. Strong fleets crushed weak ones. Advanced weapons destroyed primitive defenses. It was always the same pattern. This time, the orders came from the High Archive Council. The message was short and clear. A human colony on the edge of Sector 47 is under attack by the Zorathian Armada. The Zorathians have sent 12 battle groups. The humans have only 3 ships and a small ground force. Observe the battle. Record human tactics, weapons, and response time. Estimate how long they will last. Transmit full data when the conflict ends. HFY read the message twice. He felt no surprise. The Zorathians were known across the galaxy for their discipline and power. Their ships had thick armor and energy shields that could stop most attacks. Their soldiers moved like machines. Perfect lines, perfect timing, no fear. They had won every major war in the last 200 cycles. Humans, on the other hand, were new to the galactic stage. They had only been spacefaring for 80 years. Their technology was good, but not the best. Their ships looked rough compared to Zorathian designs. Many coalition analysts called humans brave but reckless. Some said they were too emotional to fight well in long wars. HFY opened the tactical map. The human colony was a small planet called New Haven. It had cities, farms, and mines. About 2 million humans lived there. The Zorathians wanted the rare minerals under the surface. They had sent a clear demand: surrender the mines or be destroyed. The humans refused. HFY adjusted his sensors and moved his ship closer. He stayed far enough to remain invisible, but close enough to see everything. His screens filled with data. He saw the Zorathian fleet first. 12 large groups. Each group had 1 heavy cruiser, 4 medium cruisers, 10 destroyers, and hundreds of fighters. The formation was perfect. Straight lines, even spacing, no weak points. Then he saw the human side. 3 ships only. The largest was a heavy cruiser named Liberty's Dawn. Its commander was Captain John Hayes. Parts of its hull had patches from past repairs. Its main guns were powerful, but fewer than a Zorathian cruiser carried. 2 smaller frigates flew beside it, Eagle 1 and Eagle 2. Their captains were Lisa Morgan and Kevin Brooks. On the ground, a regiment of human Marines waited. Their leader was Colonel Amanda Grant. She had sent a short message to her troops that morning. HFY listened to the recording. Today we fight for our home. We fight for our families. We do not ask for mercy, and we will give none. Hold the line. Make them pay for every step. We are not leaving this planet. The words were simple. HFY noted them in his log. He did not understand why humans spoke like this. Surrender would save lives, yet they chose to fight. He checked the numbers again. Zorathian ships, over 100 combat vessels. Human ships, 3. Zorathian troops on landing craft, estimated 40,000. Human defenders, 12,000. The math was clear. The humans would lose, fast. HFY set his recording systems to high detail. He prepared multiple backup drives. He wanted every second saved. The council liked complete reports. As he waited, he watched the human fleet move. They did not form a tight defensive wall like most species would. Instead, they spread out. Liberty's Dawn took the center. The 2 frigates moved to the sides. Small fighter wings launched and flew in loose groups. No strict patterns, no perfect lines. HFY tilted his head. This was strange. Most fleets tried to match enemy formation. Humans did not. A Zorathian transmission came across open channels. The voice was calm and cold. Human forces of New Haven. This is Admiral Zorak Thule of the Armada. You are outnumbered and outgunned. Land your ships and surrender your weapons. We will allow civilian evacuation under guard. Refuse, and we will reduce your colony to ash. You have 10 minutes to reply. Silence followed. Then Captain John Hayes answered. His voice was steady. No fear, no anger, just fact. This is Captain John Hayes of Liberty's Dawn. We heard your message. Our answer is no. New Haven is human soil. You will not take it. If you want this planet, come and try. We will be waiting. The channel closed. HFY felt something strange in his chest. Not fear, not pity, curiosity. Humans did not beg. They did not negotiate when the odds were bad. They simply said no. The 10 minutes passed. The Zorathian fleet began to advance. Bright energy beams lit up the black of space. The first shots hit the outer human sensor buoys. They exploded in quick flashes. Then the beams reached the frigates. Eagle 1 took a direct hit to its forward shield. The shield flickered, but held. Liberty's Dawn fired back. Its main railguns sent solid slugs at high speed. One slug hit a Zarathian destroyer. The enemy ship rocked. A small explosion appeared on its side. Kael'vor noted the time. Battle start, 0 hour, 0 minutes. He leaned closer to his screens. The humans were moving now. Fighters darted forward in wild groups. They flew straight at the enemy, ignoring cover. Some launched missiles, others used guns. A few even flew close enough to drop small bombs. One human fighter lost both engines. The pilot did not eject. Instead, he turned his damaged craft toward a Zarathian cruiser and accelerated. The fighter struck the enemy hull. A bright fireball followed. The cruiser's shield dropped by 20%. Kael'vor froze for a second. Suicide attack, on purpose. He had seen such things before, but rarely from spacefaring species. Most pilots valued life too much. Humans, it seemed, valued something else more. The Zarathian formation shifted slightly. They fired more beams. Eagle 2 took heavy damage. Its engines died. It began to drift. Still, the humans did not run. Liberty's Dawn turned to face the main enemy line. Captain Hayes gave a new order over fleet comms. All fighters, focus fire on their lead cruiser. Eagles, stay with me. We punch a hole, or we die trying. Kael'vor wrote in his log. Human response, defiant. Tactics, aggressive and unstructured. Morale, high despite hopeless odds. Zarathian advance, slowed by 0.4%. He did not know why he added that last part. It felt important. The battle was only minutes old, but already something was different. Kael'vor kept watching. He knew the end would come soon. The Zarathians would win. They always did. Yet, deep inside his logical mind, a small question formed. What if they did not?